Preview season for Commander Masters is officially underway, and we've got some awesome reveals and card spoilers that are going to be in the set from today's live stream. I'm going to break down all the important information you need to know here and talk a lot about the card spoilers we've seen. First off, let's talk a little bit about Commander Masters. It's essentially two products. You have the main set, which is 100% reprints that are aimed at the Commander format, and you have the precons. There are 4 of them, and they all contain new cards alongside reprints and are a little bit different. It's the first time we've seen new cards in a Masters set, but today they really focus on the main set and those reprints, so those are primarily what we're going to be talking about. Let's jump into this. Now, there are some cards you're just going to expect when you hear the words Commander Masters, and they started off by showing a couple of those. Things like Sol Ring, Command Tower, and Arcane Signet led the show alongside their new borderless treatments, which all look really awesome. The Sol Ring looks the coolest, being a frame break card, and I'm really excited to get my hands on these and to play them in Limited, where these will be in the format as commons and uncommons. I think this really is going to show how the format will feel faster and more powerful than the previous 2 Commander Legends sets, and I think it's a really interesting way to differentiate Commander Legends versus Commander Masters. Commander Masters seems like it's going to be the more powerful draft experience, which is really cool. We also got Path of Ancestry, which is a little bit less of a Commander staple, but still really awesome to see, and really great color fixing, again, especially in Limited. So I've been talking a lot about Limited, and I want to do a breakdown of that. Now, I'll be doing a separate video covering the entirety of how you draft this set, but there is some important information you need to understand these spoilers from a Limited perspective. Basically, all monocolored and zero-colored legends in the set have partner for the purposes of draft and Limited. So, they're not errating them outside of that, but within the format, if you have 2 monocolored legends, you can partner them together and say one is blue and one is red, you now have an Izzet deck. It's a really interesting idea, and I think we'll see some really awesome partner combinations. Given that, we are seeing a reprint from the original Commander Legends, that being the Prismatic Piper. This colorless 5-drop is really terrible, but at the end of your draft, if you don't have 2 commanders to put in the command zone, you can pull one of these cards even if you didn't draft it, and it can be either one or both of your commanders, and you get to pick their color identities. Yes, they're not very interesting, but at least you'll have a legal deck to play. Next, they talked a lot about downshifting. That's when they take a card of 1 rarity and downshift it, or take it from like rare to uncommon, uncommon to common, for the purposes of Limited. And they did that with a card like Extinguish All Hope. They talked about how board wipes and other effects like that are more common in Commander and more needed in Commander, and as such need to be downshifted. And you can expect a ton of downshifts, not only of board wipes, but other cards throughout the set, making them not only more prevalent in Limited, but easier to get for the average player, which is really great to see. After that, they talked about 2-mana rocks, and they showed off 6 of them that are really awesome. First off, we have Felwar Stone, a staple in pretty much any Commander deck. It's a 2-mana rock that comes in untapped and taps for colors that your opponents can produce. And in a 4-player game, that is often going to tap for all colors. It also comes in this really awesome borderless treatment, and it looks really cool, and I kind of put it in that same category as Sol Ring and Arcane Signet in terms of just being obviously in the set. After that though, they talked about some 2-mana rocks that were not so obvious but are really great to see since they haven't been reprinted in quite some time. We have the Medallion series. There's 1 for each color, and they essentially reduce the cost of cards of those colors by 1, meaning if you cast more than 1 card in a turn, they actually ramp you for more than 1 mana in a turn. These are really good and really powerful, so I'm glad they're getting a reprint. Next up, they talked about some of the legends we can expect in the set. Remember, the monocolor and zero color ones have partner, and there are some really awesome ones that we're not going to dive too much into, but I will talk about. So, cards like Kozilek, Chainer, and Krenko were all shown off, along with some various versions of them that look really cool as well. I'm really digging this profile style. It's a little weird on Kozilek, but on some of the other cards, it's really awesome looking. We also saw cards like Azusa, Carador, and Maelstrom Wanderer, all with their various versions as well. These are all really cool commanders that I'm excited to see more people get their hands on, and to have more variants out there. It's really fun to bling out your commander, and this is a really awesome opportunity to take some older ones that didn't get booster fund treatments and give them now. Azusa and Maelstrom Wanderer both have the profile ones, which look really cool as well. And finally, they showed off some really awesome commander staples and cool cards that you run in the 99. Cards like Land Tax, which give you 3 lands at your upkeep for just 1 mana if you're behind, let you get lots of value throughout the game and hasn't seen a reprint in quite some time. We also saw another sweeper, that being Evacuation, which lets you return all creatures to their owner's hands at instant speed for just 5 mana, and a really powerful piece in both normal Commander and CEDH with Spellseeker in its 3 different versions, allowing you to tutor up exactly what spell you want. Now, that was pretty much the end of the preview stream, but we have a couple more that were also revealed today through various articles. We have the original mono green Omnath, which is a really fun commander if you've never played it, and it lets you hoard all of your green mana, which will be seeing a reprint in the set. They're also reprinting basic land art into the retro frame, which is kind of a great mix of both new and old. You know, it's in a new set, but it's reprinted art in the old frame, and so it's this really awesome, you know, combination of nostalgia and awesome art that we've seen before on basics, but looking a little bit different here, and I think they made some really great choices on exactly what lands to include here. And then finally, we got two dinosaurs. We have Rego Behemoth, a card that introduces the Monarch, which is really exciting. I hope we see a lot of Monarch cards, and it lets you tap for a lot of extra mana. And then finally, the last spoiler, Wayward Swordtooth. It's a 3-cost dinosaur with Ascend, and it lets you play an extra land each turn for just 3 mana, and then once you have the City's Blessing, you can attack with it, and it's a 5/5 for 3. So that's not bad, but it's also not something I necessarily was expecting. That's it for the first batch of spoilers. Stay tuned on this channel for a ton of information about the draft environment, new cards as they're spoiled, and the new precons as we learn more details about that. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, check out this video where I talk about the first look and all the cards that were spoiled there for this set, and check out this video where I talk about the cards that I wanted to see in Historic Anthology 7.